But there's also something that I want to talk to you about that every single American needs to hear, okay? And I want you to listen right now because this is really important. There's a clear and present danger to our democracy tonight, right now. We are in very real danger of losing our democracy. We are learning tonight just how close we came to that and how close we are right now. The former guy attempted a coup. He tried to strong arm the Justice Department into helping him, and he is still at it today, trying to sow doubt about the election that he lost. Now, I want you to think about this. 9 times, the then president tried to get the DOJ to undermine the result of our free and fair election. And you know, the one Joe Biden won with more than 81 million votes, the one the former guy lost. He and his allies tried to pull off a coup. And now the Senate has the receipts. Democrats on the Judiciary Committee finding the then president directly asked the Justice Department 9 times to undermine the election result, beginning in mid-December and continuing through January 3rd, just 3 days before the violent insurrection at the Capitol. He tried to replace the then acting Attorney General because he wouldn't play along.
His own counsel, Pat Cipollone, basically said it was a murder-suicide pact that he was considering, and that there were going to be resignations all across the country if he did anything this radical.
And the GOP, well, they say, hey, it didn't work, so, you know, it's all good. Didn't work. Republican Senator Chuck Grassley's office issuing a GOP rebuttal calling the former president's outrageous actions not unreasonable.
The president rejected it. The president did the right thing. How does that create any sort of problem?
Yeah, oh, shocking update for you right now. Not coincidentally, not at all. Senator Grassley is set to join the former president at a rally in Iowa this Saturday. Yep, like I said, not in the past, still going on right now. An attorney for the former president instructing some of his former aides not to comply with subpoenas from the January 6th committee. They have until midnight. That is according to the Washington Post. The committee is still looking for Trump's former communications guy, Dan Scavino, to physically serve him with a subpoena. They want to find out what he knows about videos like this one.
Go home. We love you. You're very special. You've seen what happens. You see the way others are treated that are so bad and so evil. I know how you feel.
We love you. We love you. The committee firing off a new round of subpoenas tonight, focusing on the Stop the Steal group and its involvement in the planning of the rally before the insurrection at the Capitol. That as CNN has reviewed more than 2,000 pages of court records showing Rudy Giuliani and company they did next to nothing to actually check out their bogus claims of non-existent election fraud, debunked claims of election rigging and ties to Antifa, put in front of a national audience during his clown show of conspiracy theories and lies while apparently mopping hair dye off of his face. And then there's today's hearing on the Arizona fraud. Just more evidence that all of this is about planting the seeds of doubt, and it's happening right now, right under our noses.
Who won the election is my question, Mr. Biggs. I'm happy to yield to you for that. Who won the election in Arizona? Donald Trump?
We don't know because as the audit it demonstrates very clearly, Mr. Raskin, there are a lot of issues with this election that took place.
We don't know, bruh. We don't know. Joe Biden in the fraud got more votes. That was the frauded results. Just last week, the former president claimed that the fraud had proved that he won. Exactly the opposite of what it proved. He lost. I mean, think about what happens if the GOP wins in the midterms. That's the end of congressional hearings of the big lie. The end of any real efforts to stop the nationwide assault on the right to vote. Did you hear me? You know what I mean? Maybe you're not paying attention now. Maybe you didn't hear me. Call your friends, text them, or social media, whatever it is. Jump in their DMs and tell them, you better pay attention because the threat is very real. The GOP still kowtowing to a disgraced, twice impeached, one-term ex-president. Nikki Haley telling the Wall Street Journal they need him in the GOP. Mike Pence trying to blame the media for the attack by violent rioters, Trump supporters, who said they wanted to hang him, an attack that forced him to run for his life with his family. So remember what happened on January 6th, okay? Even Trump loyalists saw how dangerous it was. Lindsey Graham saw it.
I know the media wants to distract from the Biden administration's failed agenda by focusing on one day in January. They want to use that one day to try and demean the character and intentions of 74 million Americans who...
Well, obviously, that was the former vice president saying that January 6th was no big deal. But here is Lindsey Graham now.
Trump and I, we've had a hell of a journey. I hate it being this way. Oh, my God, I hate it. From my point of view, he's been a consequential president. But today, first thing you'll see, all I can say is count me out. Enough is enough.
Kevin McCarthy saw it as well.
The president bears responsibility for Wednesday's attack on Congress by mob rioters. He should have immediately denounced the mob when he saw what was unfolding.
Mitch McConnell saw it.
There's no question, none, that President Trump is practically and morally responsible for provoking the events of the day. No question about it. The people who stormed this building believed they were acting on the wishes and instructions of their president. And having that belief was a foreseeable consequence of the growing crescendo of false statements, conspiracy theories, and reckless hyperbole, which the defeated president kept shouting into the largest megaphone on planet Earth.
Wow. It's almost like that night he took truth serum, right? All of them. And where are they now? Where are they now? The big lie is all about laying the groundwork for the next time. That's why I say pay attention, because make no mistake, the threat is gathering again. We didn't really know until all these reports started coming out, and there are going to be more. Didn't know how close we came then. But we better open our eyes and see how close we are now. Look at what's happening around the country with all the election laws restricting the rights for people of color. Wake up, America. Pay attention.